Welcome to episode 10 of Leading Adam. Roger's back, and this time he's brought a student from Kinwell Academy to share a little bit of their story and their experience. Let's get into it. The Leading Adam podcast is hosted by me, Adam Binkerd. I've spent the last 10 years researching how a healthy human experience is the key to innovation and student retention in education, and now I'm taking to the mic to share what I've learned. Hear how I've defied the odds and transformed from a landscaper to a national expert in student success in less than 10 years. Not an educator? That's okay. Stay tuned for entertaining stories and practical takeaways about leading self, leading leaders, and leading culture. The Leading Adam podcast is co-hosted by Erica Crabtree, produced by Chris Spangle, and sponsored by 240 Solutions. Connect with us at 240solutions.com. And I hope you'll stay tuned, because together we can change the world. Okay, welcome to episode 10 of Leading Adam. This is our second episode with Roger Younce joining us again, and I'm excited this time because, Roger, you've brought a student to join us in this conversation, and I'm looking forward to that. And so, who'd you bring with you?
Today I brought our junior, Braxton Trent.
Junior, Braxton Trent. Welcome, Braxton.
It's an honor.
Is it?
It's an honor.
You ever done a podcast before, Braxton?
Never in my life.
All right. This should be interesting then.
Should be.
Well, just be yourself. We'll be fine.
Yep.
So, we have been learning about Kinwell Academy and what you do and how that school came to be, which, consequently I was involved in some weird way.
Yeah.
And so now we get to really have a conversation really with you, Braxton, about your experience at Kinwell,
right?
That kind of stuff. So I don't know. Let's just start with, tell us about you. Like, who is Braxton Trent?
Me.
Perfect.
You've had some family that have been with us. So how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have 8 siblings in total, including me.
Wow.
Yep.
No kidding. How old are you, Braxton?
17.
And you're a junior.
Yep.
At Kinwell.
Yes.
Okay. Where were you going before Kinwell?
Maconaquah.
Oh, really?
Yes. You know that school?
Yeah, I do. So you're not even from Grant County?
Miami County.
Incredible.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, why Kinwell Academy? How does your story end up with this guy?
Oh, geez. I was just not doing well at my last school, and it's just the environment I was in. I felt like,
Yeah.
It was just, I don't know how to quite describe it, but going to Kinwell makes me actually want to learn, I feel like.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Like, what about Kinwell makes you
It's the
want
atmosphere, people there. Really, that's that, dude. I mean, it's like a family,
How's that primarily, like, from Maconaquah and your experience there in public school? How is that different? Like, you want to be at Kinwell, sounds like.
Right, yeah.
And you show up wanting to learn, but you didn't want to be at Maconaquah. What was it about that? Because, there's good people at Maconaquah, that,
yeah.
But what's the difference?
The difference is, you got teachers that are just doing their job, and then you got teachers that actually care about their students, and that's him right there, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny, Braxton, you said that. You don't know anything about me. I understand.
I've seen a few episodes.
You've seen a few.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. But I've said for a long time, there's a difference between doing your job and helping the customer. Now, in this case, that could be, it's a student.
Yeah.
But there is a big difference, and you can feel it. Like, you go to the grocery store and someone's doing their job, it's different than when they're helping the customer.
Right.
And that's what you just described. I really appreciate you saying that because, we hadn't talked at all.
Yeah.
So that was great. Thanks for supporting what I believe.
Nope, not a problem, man.
So you're at Kinwell now. Tell me about you coming to Kinwell. You walk in. How did that go? You had an interview? What's it look like?
It wasn't an interview. No, I just walked up in there and sat at the couches. We have family time at the start of the day where we all talk and explain the schedule sometimes. And my first day there, I was real awkward and quiet. And I can't quite remember quite vividly,
Mhm.
but I know Roger, man, he's cracking jokes and just being him.
Yeah.
So
It probably helped that you had your older brother there.
it really did, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
And-
you had family there then.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I've had someone from his family since 2016, I think. Yeah, so I've had his family for quite a while. Yeah.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah. And now I have his younger brother.
So you're a legacy
Yeah.
student.
I guess so.
Yeah.
So tell me, you mentioned family time. This is, we got all kinds of people listening from even across the country and doing this. They don't know what family time is. And when you say family time during a school session,
Yeah.
definitely don't know what it is. What is family time? And
Family time is just catching up, and just asking how are we all doing and just chit-chatting,
and this is every day?
every day. Yeah.
Okay. At the beginning.
At the beginning, yes.
Okay. So is it student led, or is this something that the staff is doing?
Well, I mean, I don't know how to quite explain it.
Talk about,
Yeah.
and I think, so we have morning announcements where we chat and kind of talk about life. Then we have the Tuesdays, Thursdays
Right, yeah.
where we have family time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We'll take turns in between gym and then family time. some
Yeah.
days.
So talk about those family times.
Gotcha.
Those family times?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Those family times, they just teach you a lot, I guess, about, oh, dude.
They're on Tuesdays and
Cut
Thursdays?
this out, because, oh, dude.
What is today?
Today's Monday.
So tomorrow there's a family time.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll talk about, stuff like, what was that last thing we did? I know Amanda was talking about that. About how money doesn't, fix pain. It can actually just bring more and just stuff like that.
Okay,
And
so we're talking like this is real
leadership
talk.
stuff and, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And, just
It sounds like family time's kind of intended to broach some conversations that aren't just coming up at the at break time.
Yeah. That's just, we noticed that our students don't have a whole lot of deep conversations with people. They're not, a lot of them aren't sitting around the dinner table and talking about life stuff like kind of we grew up doing. And so we want to kind of fill that gap and have those conversations. And hopefully they're a lot more student led than teacher led. The teachers usually comes up with questions and things like that. But the idea is to get the students talking as much as we can. Would you say that's fair?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That we're trying to just spur on as much conversation. And it's a safe place where you're not told you're wrong or you're anything that you can have whatever feeling you want to have. It might be challenged, right? We might ask questions, but
Sure.
yeah, we want students to kind of really start to learn how to share what they feel. And obviously the staff's trying to guide the conversation to a certain place, so we're not just going to let
Right.
them sit in wrong thoughts or wrong feelings. We want
Right.
to guide them towards a place, but do that through questions as opposed to like a sermon or something.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's kind of staff organized,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
70% of the talk is happening with the students.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Yeah. If we can get them arguing, that's when it's the best.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Any good family time stories? Either one of you? Maybe a fight broke out, or and is there anything really good? Let's get the juice.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. We get some disagreements in there.
Oh, yeah. There's quite a few debates, man.
Yeah. Especially when you if things even hint towards political, it can get really heated, really debatable,
Yeah.
And right now, we're struggling so much with teen pregnancy stuff. And so we're starting to talk about okay, it's one thing to talk about how to prevent pregnancy, but it's a whole other thing to talk about abstinence and that kind of thing. So obviously something like that's really foreign to our students. So those kinds of conversations get pretty fired up and it makes it kind of fun.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
What can you think of Braxton, of a family time that really stands out to you? A conversation you really enjoyed? Think about that. I'm coming back to Roger. Think about that though, because I want to give you a chance to think across all the ones
Yeah, appreciate it.
you've. Yeah, sure. It sounds like you're really trying to. You said that we grew up with, right? So I know what you're talking about. We've known each other for a long time, but it used to be you sit down at the end of the day at dinner and you tell about your day.
Mhm.
And usually in that, at least in my case, something was going to come up that was something I could grow from, mature from. It wasn't every day, right? But maybe once a week. It sounds like what you're trying to do is establish that in an environment that you know it's happening because the student isn't getting that at home. Was that kind of the intent for family time?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also a way for us teachers to learn from our students, right? Like, so we come into it with a lot of curiosity of like, all right, what's your view on this? And if we can go into it with an open mind and learn from the perspective of our students, we see their worldview, we see how their experiences are shaping the way they think, and we get to know them a little bit better. And then what that does is it pulls the students and the teachers together, which is a great thing, but also gives some perspective when you're trying to discipline a student or you see a student acting a certain way. We have some perspective on what's going on. And the more questions we can ask of them, the more perspective it gives us. And so family times are really helpful for that kind of thing too.
Yeah.
And that's been nice.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm going to ask you a question now and go back to Braxton to hear about a family time that you really enjoyed. But I want to come back to this conversation of teachers learning from students. I'd love to challenge you to like share some things you've learned. You've been an administrator at this school for 12 years.
14
13
years.
No.
13 or 14. 2012, we started this thing, man.
It's 2025. 13
years.
13 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. We both suck at math. That's why Mueller taught math.
Yes.
But whatever. We're not talking about that.
Yes.
I want to come back to that. But Braxton, you're thinking about a family time. I mean, that was your first experience walking through the door. You sat down in a family time. How long have you been at Kinwell now?
3 years, I think.
Okay. So you've had a lot of family times.
Yeah.
So what's one that stands out to you that you really enjoyed or walked away thinking differently maybe from?
Oh, dude. I apologize. I have a bad memory. Very bad.
That's all right.
But I can remember a fun one we just had.
Sure. Yeah, let's talk about that.
I think it was last Thursday. You remember that, right? Yeah, we were playing this one card game around the table and stuff, and we were just all, running around, having a good time. What's the name of that game?
Happy Salmon. That's what we were playing.
Happy Salmon, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, it was good. It was a fun time.
Is it, I'm assuming lots of laughter.
Oh, lots of screaming, lots of laughter, lots of running.
And this is before you do any learning.
Oh, no, this was at the end of the day, family time.
End of the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll go back and forth from gym and family time.
And you said earlier that Kinwell makes you want to show up and learn. Is that a part of it? Being able to just basically cut up and have fun. I mean, acting a fool sounds like is what you guys are doing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a part of it too.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy this school, man.
Yeah.
I really do. Like, words can't even express it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to try. We're going to see if we can get your words to express it before we're done here. But let me come back to the question I was asking you, Roger, and I want you to think, Braxton, about not just what the school means to you, but I want to talk about like you needed this school. And for some reason, and I want to talk about that and then how it's helped you get where you're at today after 3 years, where you're at compared to where you started. So we'll come back and talk about that here in just a minute. But what's something you've learned from the students? I think it's such a unique thing you said. It gives teachers an opportunity to learn from students. And I think if instructors showed up with that attitude more, the classroom would be a different place completely. But what's an example for those listening?
I mean, the biggest thing that jumps out is like the further you are away from a problem or a nuisance, it just feels annoying and you want to distance yourself more from that thing that's frustrating you, right? But the closer you get to it, like in this case, students, the closer we get to the students, the more we hear, the more our compassion grows for their situation. And I'm not as annoyed by their behavior now. I'm now understanding, oh, this is what's going on at home, or this is how you were brought up. This makes more sense why you're acting this way. So really the biggest thing I've grown in is just like this grace and compassion and understanding where kids are coming from, as opposed to like when you first meet them, like, man, this dude's just annoying, right? Like he's just loud, rambunctious, disrupts the class all the time. That's really annoying. But then as I hear more about what's going on outside of the 3 hours he's with me, then it's like, okay, this makes more sense.
Yeah.
And that's brought a lot of perspective and clarity to me, and helped change the way how quickly I'm annoyed. That's my tendency, is to be really annoyed. And if someone's annoying, I don't want to spend a lot of time with them, right? And this has changed me a lot to where, like, if I can change that muscle to where someone's annoying, man, can I figure out why they're annoying? And then that helps me be more effective in what I'm trying to do. And so on top of that, so as I get to know them more, I see these deep, like, mind struggles that they have of like how they see the world, how they see problem, how they see trauma, how they see inconveniences, and how big of an impact it has on them.
Right.
And it leads to these emotional outbursts. We see so many anger problems and quick triggers, the kids that are freaking out and breaking computers and stuff. And the more I'm seeing that, my compassion's growing, and I really like that.
It's almost, what you're saying, you've learned that nothing of an interaction, especially one of the negative connotations, should be taken at face value.
Yeah.
It's something deeper, right? What's actually going on here?
Yeah.
And your empathy's grown from just listening.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And it's in fairness, it's really hard to do in a public school setting.
Sure.
Right. Like we've got 15 kids with 3 of us teachers, and that's a pretty good ratio. Where in a public school, you've got this lesson to go through. There's 30 kids in there. You're by yourself.
Right.
You don't have time to shut everything down and go talk to one kid.
Yeah.
And so in fairness to the public school situation, it's really difficult to do.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that too, because, for leading Adam, the whole point, we're talking about leading humanity and how that improves education. And mostly we're talking about how leaders lead their teams so that they are equipped to do some of this stuff, to engage the student, the learner in this context. That's most of what we're doing. And by no means would we want to villainize public school or praise private school for that matter.
Yeah.
But you sit kind of somewhere in the middle of those, and that's unique. And we talk about that in the last episode, but it's important for us to say that, because there is so much that's put on public schools and the instructors there, that there are good-hearted people with the right motivation and the right intent in what they're doing. But because they're held, they don't have the freedom that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And all of them want it.
Yeah.
And I think in that, right, we uncover something that is innately wrong with our system. And that is a part of the issue.
Yeah.
Right. When education is not about learning, it's wrong.
Yeah.
And that is a problem.
Yeah.
So, but thank you for saying that, because we don't want to villainize public schools.
Yeah.
There's great people there. We know several of them.
Yeah. Yep.
You ready, Braxton? Tell me about when you came to Kinwell, which is by and large a credit recovery program, dropout recovery, credit recovery. I'm guessing you weren't caught up. You probably didn't show up with the right amount of credits. Is that right? You don't even know.
Yeah.
No, you did not show up with the right amount of credits.
I have no idea.
Okay. So I want to really learn about Braxton and your journey. I'd ask you to think about that, but I think I want to start by asking you, Roger. You were there on day one when he shows up. You know the story, and you know the journey across 3 years. Describe for us, maybe describe for Braxton. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to do this, so we can do it right here on the camera.
Yeah, that's great.
Is to share with us, ultimately with Braxton, what you see, where he was, who he is, who he was, who he is now, and what you've seen along the way.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing I think with Braxton is his emotional growth. He's really learned how to handle adversity. And that's the big thing that school uncovers, right? Is the whole idea of it is that we're going to take you through adversity, whether it's math or history, whatever subjects you don't like. Yeah. And so we kind of, right from day one, we usually uncover how students handle difficult things.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the whole purpose of school. And so we've seen Braxton grow a ton, because even his freshman, sophomore year, he wasn't extremely motivated in school. There was a lot of struggles with that. There were some things going on in his personal life that was making school pretty difficult. And now he's charging through credits, and he really understands that taking shortcuts in schoolwork doesn't really get you far. He's willing to go take the high road and do the difficult thing to have the lasting growth.
Mm-hmm.
And he's doing that. And so that's allowed him to plow through credits, but it's also pushed him in other areas. We do PE where we play all kinds of different sports, and he excels at ultimate frisbee and basketball are his two things, but he's done great at some other sports like soccer. And when I'm not drilling him with the soccer ball, you got upset about that.
Oh, man.
You got scars?
Nah, I don't get scars.
But even things like he's learned guitar. He's been taking guitar for over a year, and that's a difficult thing to do, right? That's not a quick pick up and learn it type thing. And so we've seen a lot of growth in his ability to fight through difficult things.
That's awesome.
You see that in yourself?
Yeah, a little bit. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
I want to ask a bit more challenging question, and then we'll let Braxton roll a little bit on what he wants to say about his own growth. If you were to have to, because you're going to have to, because I'm asking you, in 2 words, describe Braxton when he walked in week 1, and then 2 words to describe the Braxton you get to interact with now, 3 years later.
2 words.
I like the tough ones, Raj.
You do. Pinning me down to 2 words. I would say insecure and scared. The 2 words I would describe Braxton when he came in.
Wow.
What do you think about? What do you think about? Let's stop there. What do you think about that, Braxton? Do you agree?
I agree totally. My first year there, I was quiet. I was scared to talk.
Yeah,
I was insecure. You know what I mean? I was scared to be me.
What do you think the insecurity or the fear was about?
Mainly just caring what people think. And, as I've gotten older, realized it doesn't matter.
Well, you think that was holding you back in your education?
Yeah, a little bit, I guess, I was scared to ask for help.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to be seen as a stupid guy, but you realize 50 years from now, you're not going to see anyone, you know what I mean? Any of them.
Yeah.
But
I can relate to that. I struggled in school big time. Like the short story of me is I was you. That's the short story.
Yeah.
I needed a school like Kinwell, and it didn't exist. But I found a way to muscle through some things. But what you just said, I can relate to in this idea. Like I didn't want to ask for help. I didn't want to look stupid. I already felt stupid. So why double down and prove it, right?
Dude, I was like scared to even get up and throw away my trash.
Really?
Yeah, it was like that.
Did you just not want anyone looking at you? Is that what it was?
I don't know, man. Honestly, I guess I just cared too much about what people thought. So yeah.
Yeah. So you agree. Roger said is 2 words that he chose, insecure and
scared.
And you're saying, yep, that's true.
Yep.
Okay, let's see if it works twice. 2 words now, 3 years later, almost 3 years. 2 words now to describe the Braxton you and I have the privilege of sitting here with.
2 words I would say is, I'll go with the opposite of insecure. I'll say he's confident now, and I would also say he's willing. Even today, we had some time to kill after school before recording the podcast, and I was like, where do you want to eat? I named some places. He'd never had King Gyros. He'd never had lamb before. And he's like, yeah, I want to try lamb. Never had it before. And not many students now are willing to try anything new, willing to be adventurous in that way. And that kind of fear has gone away, and he's very willing. We try new sports. We have conversations. We listen to music in the classroom a lot. And almost every student likes hip hop or rap, that kind of thing. And Braxton's not scared to request some Alice in Chains, some Nirvana.
Okay.
And it's just been a wonderful change of pace. And so I love his confidence to request songs that he knows no one else in the room likes but him and I. Yeah. And that's been great. And so, just that willingness to kind of step out a little bit has been a good side of Braxton. That's allowed us to see his humor. Him and I just laugh and make fun of each other all day. And we have a good time in there.
Where do you see the confidence besides what I can see it in a little bit of what you shared, but more specifically, the confidence, what do you see?
In conversation, like, we can have a deeper conversation about what's going on outside of school and that kind of thing. And he's willing to get a little deeper. We did a trip, up to Lake Michigan in the Sand Dunes hiking, this fall. and him and I had a lot of conversations there.
It was awesome.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of life stuff, and he was really willing to get open. And it takes some confidence to kind of go that deep and talk about struggles you're having. And so that's been the number one area I've seen.
All right.
Confidence in him.
We got 2 new words on the table, Braxton. Confident and willing. What say
Confident
ye?
and willing.
What do you think? Agree?
Yeah. Well, I mean, a little iffy on the willing part, just because, like, today at basketball, man, I was not feeling that.
You did get upset playing basketball today.
Yeah, I did. That was probably the only time really I got upset. Maybe a few other times, but yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you've experienced quite a bit of change personally.
Yeah, change is good.
Yeah. What if you were to describe the change you think exists in you because of your experience, interaction? Yeah, I say because you're at Kinwell, but as you said, it's because of the people.
Yeah.
Right. If you were to describe that change in you, how would you describe it to someone?
That change in me? Oh, dude. Like the change in me, like,
I mean, well, let me ask this first. Do you feel like you're a different person than you were 3 years ago?
yes.
Do you think in your view, do you think you're a better person?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
In what way? Describe that to me.
Less self-destructive and less negative, you know? Back then I had a real negative mindset, and that does nothing but attracts negativeness. So,
yeah. I mean, that's huge.
yeah, just gotta have a positive mindset, man.
Yeah, and you credit that to being around people like Roger.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I got to hand it to them, you know? It shapes me into who I am today, going to Kinwell.
If you were to meet someone that you don't really know, but you somehow find out they're struggling in school, what would you tell them about Kinwell? Would you encourage them to go? And if so, what would you tell them?
Well, I mean, I had before, you know, I'll convince some students like, dude, I know you don't want to be here right now, man, but just think about those 8-hour schools you got to go to and people you don't like. You know, you get freedom. You get more freedom. I'll say that. You get more freedom and people that actually care about you, I feel like. But yeah.
In what way do you feel cared for at Kinwell?
You know, they like to check up on me, you know, not just me, everyone. They check up on everybody from what I've experienced, you know, throughout Christmas break. Roger texted me, said, "How's your Christmas break going?" I was like, "It's going good, man." You know, and just stuff like that. They check up on you.
Yeah.
And,
do you feel, this is maybe a little bit of a touchy-feely question, but do you feel more seen at Kinwell than you did before?
Yeah, I guess so. But, you know, I'm not really in it to be seen. I don't care if I'm acknowledged or not acknowledged. You know what I mean?
Do you think Kinwell gives you community that you didn't have before?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You feel a part of something.
Yeah. I feel more social.
Oh, yeah?
Really? Oh, yeah, totally. Ever since I've been going to Kinwell, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Been way more social.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know, Raj. You know, Braxton obviously way better than I do. I've known Braxton for all of 25 minutes. Maybe there's a question you'd like to ask. Do you think, you know, you're an educator. You know what it's like to start a school. You know what it's like to be in a classroom and feeling overwhelmed by some things. Maybe there's a conversation that or a question you can pose to Braxton to encourage the educators listening, because there are, at all levels, there's educators listening, as well as just, you know, business leaders, also. So maybe something, you want to pose to Braxton to kind of pull you, since you know him better than I do.
Yeah. I think how we handled people and students in their most difficult times, I think, is one of the more crucial things with leadership or with running a school and that kind of thing. And you've had bad days at Kinwell.
You've had a few.
We won't go through all of them right now.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah, it does, exactly. But I've had bad days at Kinwell, right?
Oh, I know.
This is about you, not me right now, so we'll leave that one alone too. Right. But in those bad days, what's been most helpful, or what would you even like differently when you're having a bad day? Does that make sense? So like normally in a public school, in the setting, if you're having a bad day, you're getting in trouble, you're getting kicked out of the classroom, you go to the principal's office, that kind of thing. At Kinwell, we do things a little bit differently. How have you appreciated when you're having a bad day? What have you appreciated about Kinwell when you're having a bad day or a rough time?
Yeah.
Or is there something you'd like to see different even?
Not really. I mean, for me personally, you guys have been lenient, and you really want what's good for us all, and I can see that. Mm-hmm. And you won't like the punishment wise. If I'm having a bad day and I'm screaming at you or something like that, I know you're probably just going to say, you take a minute, go calm down, or you want to come talk to me somewhere, and that's how teachers approach it. Yeah.
And you've liked that?
Yeah.
That's different. I mean, that has to be different than public for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's just go to the office.
Yeah.
Right.
Kind of get out of my sight is what it feels like.
Yeah.
Even though sometimes that's maybe what's meant by the teacher, but not always. Sometimes it's just there's 27, 30 other kids in the room and it's someone else's job to do that. And in your case, it's all of your jobs.
Yep.
And so that environment is kind of like, okay, let's step aside.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So you don't ever get pushed out to say, hey, go deal with your stuff and come back when you're ready to learn. They kind of walk through it with you, sounds like.
Yeah.
A lot of conversations.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we have conversations every day. Mm-hmm. Whenever you don't have your Monday tummies.
Wait, I gotta hear this. Wait, what? What's
Braxton has a hard time getting to school on Mondays, specifically.
Right.
Okay.
And I'll text him when he's not there and say another case of the Monday tummies. And then whenever I miss, if I have a meeting or something like that, he texts me, you got the Monday tummies. So we're holding each other accountable to make sure we're in the school all the time.
I mean, I love that. It's such a window into what makes Kinwell Academy different. I mean, you're saying you're holding each other accountable. There is basically no other environment where I know the instructors, the teachers are saying the students help hold me accountable. That is so unique.
Yeah.
So is that a you thing or is that your team too?
It's definitely an adjustment for a lot of teachers when we're hiring, right? Especially if a teacher has teaching experience in a public school, this is pretty foreign, right? Even that a student would have your number is pretty crazy.
Right. Or you're going to take them to dinner.
Yeah.
There's several things you've said that some of the teachers listening are going, that ain't right.
Right.
We're not supposed to do that.
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot, of things. I mean, we had a student just move in with a teacher last week. And so, there's a lot of things that are, that are different and backwards. And the other, again, it's the public school. I mean, you got 100 employees depending on the size of the school, right? You've got to monitor things differently there. You've got to set blanket rules all right, no one has a teacher's number because it needs to be safer. Where ours is so intimate and small that I'm involved in every student and teacher's life and enough that I know if there's something out of whack, I can see it pretty quickly and address it.
Yeah.
Which we've had. We've had teachers in the past that have abused it and have done things they shouldn't have done, and we've had to make moves with that. And so, my whole goal, honestly, is to break down the student-teacher relationship. I tell students all the time, I don't want to be the principal of the school. I don't want to be the director. I'd much rather be your friend. And there's times where you're going to make me be the director, but if you do everything right, I do everything right, then we can be friends. And it's Braxton and Raj, and we're hanging out, having a good time. If he wants to be a butthead, then I got to be the director. If I want to be a butthead, he's allowed to call me out on it. Hey, you're kind of being a jerk right now. Students do that, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so, to me, that's the way I like to lead. I'm not real authoritative. I'm much more relational. I like to be friends, and it makes it really hard, right? My staff are my best friends. And when I have to discipline my staff because something's not going right, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's awkward. But I'd much rather have that than to be distant.
So much of what I do professionally is helping leaders understand that side of leading. And the number one thing I get accused of is that's soft, and especially in the trades, in industries that are blue collar, more blue collar than white collar. I mean, that's the first thing I hear. That's soft. That's some mamby-pamby stuff, right? I mean, I don't have time to play patty cake with them. I hear this on the regular. And typically what I'm trying to get them to understand, which I hear you saying, and I want to ask you to say a little more before we wrap up about this, is that what the standard you think that they think is here. And what I'm saying is here.
Yeah.
And that everything you're doing still needs to happen. Plus this. Yep. And that is a different view. It's a different understanding, and it is harder. I believe it's harder, and I could talk for an hour as to why it's harder. But this isn't about me. You said it's more difficult. Yeah. Why? What makes it harder?
I tell the students this all the time when they're frustrated with how things are going, is it's actually easier for me if I make our school more militaristic. Right? Like, hey, it's dead silent in the classroom. You want to talk, you raise your hand. You want to leave the building or leave the classroom, you got to raise your hand. You call me Mr. Younce, you do what you're told. And if you don't follow suit, you're out. That's actually easier for me, right? There's a rule book, you follow the rules. I don't have to make decisions. It's like, oh, you broke this rule, and this is the consequence that it says right here on line 3. Yeah. That's easy. Yeah. The harder thing is, this new student started Braxton. He's pretty quiet and shy. Then we take him out to lunch. Let me go see if he wants to go shoot some hoops at break time. Let me really pour into him, get to know him. Let me invest in him. Now, a couple years have gone by. We've gone on trips. We've spent 3 days in a cabin together. We go out to dinner regularly. And I really care about him. What's hard about that is he's not going to be perfect. There's going to be times that he disappoints me and he isn't feeling it today. And so he puts his head down. He doesn't want to work. And that's going to be hard for me and frustrating for me because I'm thinking, man, I care about you and I think you care about me. Why can't we do this together? That's a lot harder than I don't have a relationship with Braxton. So when he puts his head down, oh, you need to leave today. That's easier. What's hard is then sit next to him, put my arm around him. Man, what's going on today? Right. That takes more effort. That's harder. And then I get to make decisions. So if I know Braxton's putting his head down, oh, this is out of character for Braxton. Something's going on. It's not he's breaking a rule. It's, oh, something's difficult. And I get to go spend some time with Brett. Let's go walk to the gas station. Yeah. And talk about what's going on. And I think
it's interesting what you're describing. And I think that if the majority of our society was more emotionally mature, they would admit the same thing, that it's not soft. It's not, I don't want to do it because it's weak or it's soft. It's, I don't want to do it because if I build a relationship there, you might hurt me. Yeah. Right. And that's what you're saying. Like there's an opportunity for Braxton to show up. He's not feeling it and you're disappointed because you want for him. You can't want for his future more than he wants for his future. Yeah. As much as you want that. That's interesting to say it that way. Braxton, what do you think? What do you think about that? In the fact, have you ever heard a teacher, first of all, or instructor, or administrator, talk about like, I'm so invested that if they don't hit this goal, or if they act out a certain way, that I feel like I'm failing, I feel like I'm losing, or I'm disappointed. What do you think about that?
All I can say is I'm blessed to have that. Everybody at Kinwell should be blessed to have that too. And stuff you won't find in the public system. Yeah. So.
And I would wager to say that's part of the reason you show up and are excited to learn. Yeah. Do you think you're pursuing and trying to grow because he believes in you?
No, because I believe in myself.
You do now?
Yeah. Well, thanks to the help of, Kinwell being there.
That's another way of saying confidence, right? You believe in you.
Right.
That's pretty big. So before we wrap, you're a junior.
Yep.
You're finishing your junior year.
That's the plan.
Congratulations. That's the plan. Well, make it happen. It's all on you. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
You're starting your senior year.
Yeah.
Where are you, what do you see for your life? What do you want out of life?
Oh, man. Wasn't expecting to get asked that. What do I want out of life?
Yeah. I mean, not the classic question, right? Not where are you going to school? What do you want to do for a living? Not that. That's not what I'm asking.
Yeah.
But what do you want out of life? Because after hearing you guys talk, they're forcing you to think about life.
Yeah.
I know that's happening with family times and the way they're treating you guys and involving you guys. So what do you think?
All the knowledge I can get. That's what I want out of life. Just get all the knowledge I can.
You know, Braxton, you don't probably, at your age, 17, don't know how important what you just said is. If the interaction I've had with anyone in my life produced in them a hunger to learn, period, I would feel like my life meant something.
Yeah.
And what you just said is kind of another way of saying that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You just want to absorb it and take in and learn new things. And I think that's incredible.
Yeah. One thing my mom told me, Mom, you're going to be watching this, I know. But she told me everybody can take everything from you. One thing they can't take away, your knowledge.
What you know.
Yep.
That's the truth. There's a few other things they can't take away as well, but that's a good one.
Yeah.
And so if, as we wrap up, if I can, I'd like to encourage you. The other thing they can't take away is your character.
Yeah.
Right? Who you are, regardless of what's going on around you, is something that is eternal in the way that no matter if they lock you up or torture you or the worst of things, the way you respond to those things,
it's the way you react to it.
Your character can't be taken from you. So I'd add to that, right? Learn as much as you can because that can't be taken away from you. Neither can your character.
Yes.
And so I really appreciate you letting Roger put you through this.
Hey, he didn't put me through. I wanted to be here.
Hey, you know what? You've done a great job. And I know
I tried.
It's different. Trust me, I know when we first started recording, the cameras and the mic, it messes with you. No matter what, it messes with you.
Get you at first.
You've done a great job, and I really appreciate you sharing. And congratulations on finishing your junior year.
Hey, thank you, man. It's an honor to be on here, man.
Yeah.
Been wanting to meet you.
Good. Well, I appreciate it. And keep watching.
Oh, I will. I'm subscribed. I'm subscribed.
Hey, I appreciate that.
Hey, no problem.
Yeah, look at the camera. Tell them subscribe.
Subscribe.
There you go. You heard it from Braxton. Subscribe or share.
And hit that like button.
Roger, for real, thank you for doing both episodes. It's been great. I know that our educators listening will glean a lot. You are one of the most effective educators I've ever met. And I really appreciate you doing this.
Oh, thanks. Well, I learned there right next to you this whole process, so we've grown together.
We learned some things.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know where you learned what you learned. It didn't come from me, that's for sure. No, it's been really good. So thanks for hanging out with me.
Thanks. It's been fun.
Thanks for joining us here at the Leading Adam podcast. We hope you found inspiration and hope to see you again next time. Leave us a comment on YouTube, or if you have an idea for a future episode, let us know that too. You can connect with us at 240solutions.com. Thanks, and we hope to see you again next time.